Hi, everyone. This is Michael. Welcome to week 10. So it's been an amazing journey with you all, and I'm hoping that you're starting to connect to some of the bigger picture items as we move up to the pyramid to the areas where I believe that some of the topics we're discussing this week may be ones that are going to help you with your final paper. These are things that aren't obvious. This is a brand new medium, literally, so we've only been around for about 20 years. So a lot of this stuff is still being created and formulated about how it works. But I do want to have your paper and things that you focus on start with the basics. It's really just a data in a database. It's captured somehow, somewhere, and it's used through organization to tell some sort of story which is valuable. So we'll discuss this again during the Blue Jean session tonight, but if I can just reiterate, don't go too far from what you've already done. It is, I talked here about what is the core data. That's what I mean. It's a name, maybe it's your name, it's a post, it's a picture, it's a URL, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But really the database itself that constitutes most of these services is there for you to figure out because you can submit your own record. That's why we could have also put on our list things like JS Fiddle or Mural for that matter. I think what I wanted to do though is get something where the organization was done by the company itself, or the way things appear to the outsider. As you can tell by having used Mural, it looks how it looks because you guys get to decide whether you have a particular background color, a font size, etc. There's some things, like last week we wanted to do some ratings, and I apologize that didn't seem to work. I'm not positive why. But maybe you got the point. The reason why we talked a little bit about ratings is that almost every one of you wanted to use rating as a sort, meaning the things that are the most popular are the ones that are shown first. The somewhat subtle point that I was trying to make, if you looked at this wine thing, for example, if I scoot in here, this to me was pretty revelatory because what it said is that everybody isn't rating at in the same manner. That's basically what it's trying to say. You might say, or you as a consumer, you might just say, well, this is a 90-point wine, but for different companies, it means different things. And that's the problem with stars, etc. I think a lot of you might have noticed that there really aren't many 3-star reviews for good reason. That's why if you look here, this is a great rating scale. The Michelin, meaning 1 star means it's worth going to. Actually, it means it's fantastic. No stars means whatever it means. But basically, if you get any stars, you're well worth going to. And 3 stars means, because it started in Europe, it says, yeah, go ahead, get in the car, drive 100 and 200 miles to go to this restaurant. That's really what it means, because Michelin made tires. I think a 3-star, I'm really into ratings for many, many reasons, just because I think the human side and the computer side don't often match. So therefore, yes, it's interesting to me how things are rated and how people perceive those ratings. So when you think of ratings, you see them all the time. What I wanted to ask is, are they trustworthy? And I think that you're going to find within your services that they struggle sometimes with being with truthfulness, and they struggle sometimes with being trustworthy. However, if you hadn't really got to the core data yet, I really am interested in that. And that core data is almost a list of the data, like name, post, name, date, etc. And if you have to create an identity, I think that's one thing that becomes important for those doing services. See if your identity has to be real or if it can be fake. That might be a little clue for people doing Facebook, by the way, which is, I'll just point out that they were really the first service that made you try to be yourself, or not try to. They really kind of required you to be a real person. That was a real game changer. There you go. I've just helped you out with at least a couple paragraphs. Anyway, and I will help everybody. So if we get to this week, go ahead and post your link to Medium, and I can make comments in Medium on your paper in progress. If you want to do a rough draft, post it here. You might want to mention me in a comment if you want my attention, because this week we're talking about notifications. I'm really quite keen on notifications and AI. So there's this idea that you can, with all that data, you can look for patterns, and you can try to take those patterns, extrapolate them into something useful for someone. So that's really, to me, the top of the pyramid. Also, and I forgot to mention, in the module for this week, you'll get me, I'll be using the I Ching book, which I don't know if anyone bought, but it will hopefully be a treasured book for you, because it is for me. It is, I think, the most amazing work of information architecture, taking basically the I Ching, which is everything that people can do, and matching it to Western literature. So there's a video of me doing the I Ching, but that's an incredible piece of work. So this week there's some questions to answer, trying to make it a little bit light so you can focus on your paper, but I'd also like you to go ahead and put in some comments about some of these tools and how they worked for you. That's always helpful. And of course, there's the evaluation where I ask questions about that as well. So I'm always trying to evaluate how this works. Really been a pleasure having all of you. It's been a big class for me. I hope that you've gotten the attention you need, and the subject has really sparked your interest in a lot of areas. Oh, speaking of areas, last week we really just lightly brushed on data visualization. As I said, this is its own class. Love data visualization. The reason why it's here is that you'll probably, it has to do with trustworthiness. If someone goes to the trouble of making these charts, you hope that their data is reliable. Let's hope. If it's interactive, that just puts another twist on things. Can you use dynamic data, meaning it's happening all the time, to visualize things? These are both ways I think that you can get trust without necessarily always being accurate. As you've all noted, that it doesn't mean that you're really convincing, but it still is it's a very valuable way to get to that higher level of knowledge, saying, oh, I've really gone through the numbers and X, or I've drawn some conclusion, or you can draw your own conclusion. So I wanted to brush on that for anyone interested in, I believe there's a class in data visualization in this program, and it is a fascinating way of going up the pyramid, taking that data and making it useful. So hope that helps, and please contact me with any questions. Have a great end of class, I guess. So it was a real pleasure. Thank you.